And then you look at the guy who's just like really cool, really chill, but then you look at his ears, oh, that guy can kill someone. He can eat someone up. And they think that they're special and unique and their problems are unique when really it's not. You kill those two things and you become very coachable. All you know is what you know, right? And let's face it, what got you here won't get you there. Still stuck with what I know, and what got me here is not gonna get me there, which is where I wanna be. Man, I'm unique, I'm special, and I can just tell this is gonna be a horrible 12 months working with them. Yep. Dude, here's your 100 grand. See you later, have a good life.
All right, B, so the first question is, how do I become more coachable? And actually, Lauren sent me this quote by Michael Jordan. He says, my greatest skill was that I was coachable. I was a sponge and aggressive to learn. So obviously you see what that got him.
Yeah, well, being coachable is a gift, and it's not something that's factory installed in everybody, right? Like people might think like, oh, Michael Jordan was coachable because it was like built into him, it's genetic. Like being coachable is a byproduct of killing your ego, number one, putting your ego aside, and number two, realizing that you're not a special snowflake. Because when someone thinks that there's something special about them, there's something unique about them in their business and their life, and I'm a special snowflake, and therefore my problems are different, my needs are different, then you're going to be closed off to coaching because you're going to go, oh, that'll work for everyone else. It won't work for me. Or if you have a high ego, as in, I know it all. I've heard that before. And therefore you disregard the advice that you're getting. Again, you're not coachable. And I think one of the best traits anyone can have is their ability to detach themselves from their ego. We have to understand that the reason that we have an ego, it is there to protect us. Like it's there to protect us. So it protects us from criticism because we feel like when someone's trying to coach us, they're criticizing us. And if you go, well, wait a minute, I'm actually paying a coach to coach me. Or if I'm an athlete, this sports team that's paying me is also paying this coach to coach me and make me better so I can be better on the court. Like I could either put my ego aside and realize that I'm not anything special and unique, that the same skills and traits that I need to develop are the same things that these guys need to develop, then I can become more coachable. But I think too many people have ego and they think that they're special and unique and their problems are unique when really it's not. You kill those two things and you become very coachable.
You kind of explained a little bit, why do you think it's so important for people to become coachable? Because they might be thinking, like, for example, there's some people that I talk to on when I'm on sales calls for your coaching program. Yeah. A lot of them are a good fit, but then there's some people that are not, and a lot of reasons is because they're not coachable. And I tell them that, like, hey man, this is not going to work. Like one guy, I asked him, I said, well, just curious, it sounds like you need to take your online presence more seriously and build your personal brand. So, I'm not really a social media kind of guy, more old school. Like I'm not into that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, what if Bedros says that he thinks it's a good idea for you? What are you gonna, what are you gonna do? I wouldn't do it. Like, okay. And then that was one thing. Then there was another thing I talked about. That what if he suggests this? That's not for me. And so he wasn't really ready to be coachable. And so if you were talking to that guy, why would you say that it's important for him to kind of get out of his own way?
Whether for that guy or for anybody, the reason it's important to be coachable is because all you know is what you know, right? And let's face it, what got you here won't get you there. So if I try and solve whatever problem it is, the need to make more money, to lose weight and get fit, to improve a relationship with what I know, it's already gotten me to where I am. It's already gotten me to the problem. So all I'm going to do is keep stimulating the problem. So when you're coachable, you open up the opportunity to see things and experience things in a different way. To go, oh, maybe there is another opportunity to break through this bottleneck. There is another way to, maybe I can't say that, oh, it's genetic that I'm heavy, that I'm just older now and it's hard to lose weight. Maybe I haven't tried carb cycling, or maybe I haven't tried working out in this way, or maybe I'm just like starving myself and my metabolism has crashed. And so the importance of being coachable is that you are now open to new opportunities and horizons. Otherwise, it's like, I'm still stuck with what I know, and what got me here is not going to get me there, which is where I want to be. That's thing number one. And thing number two is, for a coach, as I mentor entrepreneurs at all different levels, right? And I mentor like former athletes, like pro athletes who have become entrepreneurs. I have a billionaire who's a coaching client. All of my coaching clients, no matter what area they come from, the ones that have the ability to ask questions, and being coachable also means asking the right question. And one of my favorite quotes is, a question well phrased is half answered. So also part of being coachable. So as we're talking about putting your ego aside, realizing that there's nothing special about you, you're not a unique snowflake, like what'll get you the solutions will also likely get this guy the solutions. And then being coachable so that you are open to new opportunities, you are open to new ways of doing something so that you can break through the bottleneck that you have in your relationship, in your health, in your business, in your whatever. Well, the other thing is to be able to ask the right questions. I have had coaching clients who have had the desire to be coached. They don't have an ego, but they're not asking the right questions. And all a coach can do is answer the questions that they're asking, unless I can start asking them the right questions, right? And that's what I end up doing is where I go, well, tell me about your business. And oftentimes I just need more leads and more clients. And I realize they're actually getting enough leads. They have a conversion problem, a sales problem. They don't have a lead getting problem. They just think they're getting shitty leads because they're not closing well.
Right.
And I can ask enough questions to go, here's the problem. You're getting enough leads and you're paying a good amount for those leads. You're just not converting. Or if you're converting, you're not keeping. So you've got so many holes in your bathtub that as you're adding new clients, you're losing them. So a good coach will also ask all the right questions to help someone become a good coaching client, as long as, again, they've killed their ego and they realize they're not a unique snowflake. But I will, and I've, as we've refunded people who have come in and have been high ego and have felt like, man, I'm unique, I'm special, and I can just tell this is going to be a horrible 12 months working with them.
Yep.
Dude, here's your $100,000. See you later. Have a good life.
Not worth it.
They're not open to it. And when they're not open to it, I'm not going to fight an uphill battle trying to help them, one, become coachable, to then ultimately coach them.
You kill your ego then. Like, what do you do then?
Yep, that's a good question. The way you kill your ego is you start stacking a lot of wins. People who are not confident have high ego. I'll give you a great example. You go somewhere and it's always the guy who's like, doesn't have fighting skills, doesn't have any combative skills, that is walking around with the invisible lat syndrome, shouldering people, right? And then you look at the guy who's just like really cool, really chill, but then you look at his ears and it's all cauliflowered up and you're like, oh, that guy can kill someone. He can eat someone up. And he just cool, chill. He says please and thank you, gets out of people's way because he's been humbled enough in whether combatives or entrepreneurship. I feel like if I had entrepreneurship ears, my ears would be cauliflowered. Like my ego in business has died because I realized like I've been humbled so many times as an entrepreneur in the quest of making the money that I've made, launching the businesses that I have, that my ego is long dead. I know there's people far smarter than me in the areas of marketing, in the areas of sales, in the areas of building your personal brand, in the areas of leadership. When I first started, I'm like, boom, made my first $1 million. I know it all. Now at 200 million a year, I'm like, bro, there's people who are making billions.
Yeah.
They know way more than me.
Yeah.
I've been humbled enough in the process of losing hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions these days where my ego has died. So it's like, start stacking enough wins and get into the arena enough to be humbled. And once you're humbled, you realize, oh, there's people who actually know more than me. I'm stronger than him. I'm taller than him. Great example. I'm doing jujitsu right now, no-gi jujitsu. My jujitsu coach is a black belt. He weighs 205 pounds. He's my age. He's in his late 40s. I'm more jacked than him. Coach Mike, do not fuck me up the next time we roll. If you're listening to this, I say this with respect. Like, he's a good dude.
Right.
But he's shorter than me, weighs less than me. I'm more jacked than him. I like to think that I'm more athletic. He literally closes his eyes as he's rolling with me and just feels what I'm doing, and he closes his eyes and puts his head on my chest and he slithers like a snake and pins an arm, wraps another arm around my neck, like my own arm around my neck, right? So now it's like wrapped around this way and he's holding it around my head, and I just feel it all tightening up, and then boom, a submission, and I tap. And he goes, now let me teach you what I just did. Like, there's a man who's been humbled so many times. His ears are all cauliflowered. If you saw him on the street, you'd be like, there's a good victim. There's a good victim. Quiet, humble, chill dude. And if you didn't look at his ears, you would be making a very cardinal mistake and like trying to rob the guy or do some harm to him, right? Like, I'd be a better guy to rob at that time, like, unless I have my pistol with me. So all this to say that when you've been humbled enough, yet on the mats, I start spazzing out and trying to use all my strength to push him off and try and pin him down, and he'll be like, hey, you done? Are you exhausted yet? I'm like, yeah. Like, I can't catch my breath. I'm about to throw up. He's like, all right, what did we say? I'm like, position over submission. Okay, so why are you trying to submit me before you have a good position? Yeah, you're right, coach, right? Yeah. And now my ego is dying, but I came into jiu-jitsu with, I'm stronger than him, I'm bigger than him, I'll outpower him. He very quickly humbled me, and now my ego went away.
Yeah.
And now I'm ready to learn.
Yeah, there it is.
That's the beautiful thing about it. So when you get humbled enough, when you start stacking enough wins in other areas, and you start seeing that there's people who are winning even bigger than you, you're like, right, I am open to learning. And that is when the death of the ego happens.
The host hits us with $1 million question. How can we become top-notch coachable champions? He drops a shiny gem of wisdom from Michael Jordan, saying that being coachable is like being a sponge, soaking up juicy knowledge and being hungry to learn. So, what's the secret? Killing your ego. Sounds simple, but it's like taming a wild beast. Being coachable is not an inborn talent. It requires putting your ego aside and realizing that you're not the only one with problems. Bedros suggests that ego serves as a protective mechanism, shielding individuals from criticism, but this can hinder coachability. To overcome this, one must detach themselves from their ego. He stresses the significance of realizing that one's problems are not entirely unique, and the skills and traits needed for improvement are shared with others. Get ready to be a sponge. The chat veers towards the significance of being coachable, unlocking doors to fresh perspectives and innovative solutions. It nudges you to knock down barriers in every facet of life, be it romance, wellness, or entrepreneurship. Get ready to stretch your limits and soak up all the knowledge. Ease the Joint Questions is like a secret sauce for being coachable. He spills the beans that clients who aren't coachable usually don't know what queries to ask. But don't fret. A wise coach can throw them a lifeline by nailing the right questions, uncovering the real root of the problem. The talk ended with a bang-on ways to deflate one's ego. The speaker recommended piling up experiences that keep us grounded and humble. He even shared some personal stories from his time as an entrepreneur and a jiu-jitsu champ, showing how being brought down to earth helped him to adopt a fresh perspective. Because, let's face it, sometimes we need to be taken down a peg or two to really open ourselves up to new opportunities and growth.